Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. All right, when you go out west, you think, oh, yeah, everything's great out west. I mean, well, clearly not California, but when it comes to gun ownership, surely someplace like, Montana, there'd be no issues out there, right? Maybe. Joining me right now is Austin Knudsen. He is the Attorney General of the state of Montana. And Austin, how are you, sir?
I am great, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Well, I loved it when I contacted you a few days ago. You said, yeah, well, I can't talk right now. I'm out here shooting a bunch of guns doing requalification. Who were you shooting with?
I was shooting with our major crimes agents, our state division of criminal investigation. They put together a new qualification course, and I wanted to see how it stacked up. And so I went out and I shot with all the DCI agents.
How'd it go?
It went great. Yeah, it was definitely an improvement from their previous qualification. That was a pretty dated course.
Uh-huh.
I shoot a fair amount, and so it was fun to go out and shoot with that group of agents and see how they did, see where they needed some work, and also just to see how I stacked up. And for shooting a Glock 22, 40 caliber, it was all right. I did fine.
Well, good. Well, there's no substitute for going out and shooting a lot, is there?
There absolutely is not. Dry fire practice is that's one I absolutely live by. That's great practice at home, but you have to get out and you have to put rounds down range. There's just no substitute for that trigger press, for that sight alignment, that breath control. If you're working on moving, if you're working on barricades, that's stuff that you need to go out and do on a range.
Well, you used the word, I was going to go there, but you beat me to it, which is you said working. If you're working on this, you're working on that. You're not just going out there and just sending rounds down range willy-nilly. You're actually trying to get better at specific things, barricade use, shooting from the ground, shooting while you're moving, doing reloads, all the rest of it. And the thing and you know the drill, we always like to shoot the things that are easy because we're better at them, and nobody likes to do the malfunction drills and the one-handed drills and all the stuff that's hard because we kind of suck at that.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into a rut. But look, Tom, I've become really good friends with Jerry Mitchellek. If your listeners don't know who Jerry Mitchellek is, I'm going to be surprised. But Jerry's become a dear friend of mine, and I got this advice from him. He is constantly trying to challenge himself. He is constantly looking for new things, different things, better ways of doing things. We think of Jerry, you think there's one of the old masters. There's a guy who's been doing it forever. He's got this figured out. That's not true. He's constantly looking for new innovations and new ways of doing things. I don't think that carries over in the CQB training, in the law enforcement training, any kind of shooting discipline. We need to always be challenging ourselves and, like you said, working on it.
Working it, exactly right. So, all right. So, how long have you been Attorney General?
Yeah. So I'm wrapping up my third year. So in Montana, our AG terms are the same as the presidential. You can run for 4, and then you can run for a second term of 4. So I'm entering my 4th year of my first term. So you teed that up for me. Yeah, I've just recently filed for re-election. I'm going to try to be the Attorney General of Montana for a second term.
So when people say, what do you do, what are the primary issues of what you do as AG?
Well, a lot of things. First and foremost, I'm the Chief Law Enforcement Officer for the state of Montana. That's one I take very, very seriously. It's a bit of a misnomer. I'm only in charge of certain segments of the Montana law enforcement community. I have no authority over local sheriffs, over local police chiefs. I do have the State Division of Criminal Investigation and the State Highway Patrol. They work for me.
Okay.
That's a big part of my job. I've got criminal prosecutors. I've got civil lawyers. Every time the state gets sued, every time the legislature gets sued, state agency gets sued, we defend that. Probably the most important for your listeners, Tom, every time the Biden administration does something that we think is illegal or unconstitutional or crosses a line, we're there to sue. My federal practice, my federal team of solicitors, we're very, very busy. We've gotten very active. We've taken Montana from being a backbencher state to, I mean, we're a leader. We're a leader in a lot of federal litigation, and I'm really, really proud of the fact that that's especially true in the Second Amendment. I kind of, not intentionally, but I've become kind of the Second Amendment state attorney general in the country. Most of those big Second Amendment cases, or pushing back on the ATF or pushing back on the IRS, those are being led by my office. A lot of other states join us. We share the load, but I'm really proud of the fact that we've been really, really aggressive in defending the Second Amendment, in defending Second Amendment groups and their rights. I've told you before, and you probably got it. I'm a shooter. I'm a hunter. I'm a reloader. I'm a competitive shooter. I'm a gun collector. I'm an amateur gunsmith. I mean, I live and breathe this stuff. This is my passion. So that's a one for me.
So how's it look in terms of, I'm not there. I don't know Montana politics. You have to run. You have to get elected on the statewide ballot. And that election is what, November, I guess a year from now, right?
Roughly a year from now. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I mean, obviously, you're just going to have to campaign through that period. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to slip you a fastball here, a curveball. There's another election taking place in Montana. You already know where I'm going with this one.
I do.
You got a governor's race, and you got one of the lead paid so-called expert witnesses of the gun ban lobby running for governor in Montana, Ryan Bussey. How is that being received in Montana?
Well, I mean, I first of all, I think it's Ryan Bussey. That's how we refer to him. But look, this is a guy who purports to be an expert. He purports to be an industry insider, and certainly he used to be on the board of directors for a fairly prominent firearms company. He's no longer there. Good
Right.
for them, because I think that probably cost them some business. But this is a guy who's now gone full Bloomberg. He's gone full Everytown. I mean, he's one of their paid lobbyists.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
that's just the right word. He's a carpetbagger. He's come into Montana. He purports to be this big public lands advocate, public lands hunter. But I mean, this is a guy who's swings for extreme gun control. That dog is just not hunt in Montana. I mean, I don't care how he wants to spin it, how he wants to folksy himself up with bad, ugly cowboy hats and double-barreled shotguns. It's just not going to fly in Montana. This is a Second Amendment state. This is a state that has an extremely high rate of veteran population, extremely high rate of NRA ownership, Gun Owners of America ownership, membership. I think this guy's dreaming, but we have to take these things seriously. I know Governor Jim Fulton is going to campaign hard. Look, just like me, I've got the liberal trial lawyers and plaintiffs bar in Montana. They hate me. I'm not understating this. I mean, I've been very aggressive. I've hit back at them. I've been pretty critical of our courts. They hate me, and they've put up a candidate who is an extreme left winger, but he's going to be very well funded. That's a group that can raise money.
I'm just going to say, when you got the trial lawyers funding it, that's some people with a lot of money. And in statewide elections, you don't have to have just a whole bunch of money to really have an advantage.
Yeah, and especially a year like this. I mean, you talk about a governor's race. We've got a huge U.S. Senate race coming up. That's right, with Tester, Democrat Senator John Tester. He's up this year, and he's really got one of the only two competitive Senate races in the country. I mean, he's vulnerable. Chuck Schumer knows it. They're going to spend a lot of money here in Montana. But look, that makes it even harder for a guy like me who's a couple spots down the ticket to number one, raise money, but number two, I got to put myself on air. I got to buy some TV time. I got some radio time.
Sure.
And those big races, they suck a lot of oxygen out of the room.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'm assuming at this point you've got your website up. If people want to help, want to get involved, how do they do that?
Yeah, thank you so much. So my website is Austin for Montana, all spelled out, AustinFor Montana, austin4montana.com. Our limits are very low in Montana. I'm a cheap date, is what I tell people. But if you can help me out, I'd really appreciate it, Tom. I can't thank you enough for the time, but I'm not the guy that is out in the field taking campaign pictures with a brand new over/under shotgun and a hunting vest that's never been shot in. I'm a 3-gun competitor. I'm the real deal. So
I get it. I get it.
If your folks could help me out, I'd appreciate it.
There you go, Austin. Say it again. Austin4Montana.
Montana.com.
There you go. .com. There you go. Austin Knudsen. All right. Thanks so much for your time, sir. Keep shooting out there. We're going to get together at one of these times. We're going to burn some powder.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Tom.
Take care.